yogis, and welcome back to the Yoga House. This sequence that I'm offering you today is for people who prefer to do yoga on the chair. I'll be giving you some options if you'd like to migrate from the chair to the floor or to a standing position. But if you're recovering from injury, or if you're very, very new to yoga and you feel very, very stiff, or if you've had any sicknesses lately and you just want to get some energy through the body without overdoing it, then sitting on the chair for the whole session is good. As I said, I'll give you some extra options anyway. And so let's begin just by resting the hands on the thighs, and we're going to sit quite far back into the chair or the stool so that you're on your tippy toes. Let's close the eyes and take 5 slow, deep, nourishing breaths together. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Last 2 breaths. Inhaling. Sit tall on the inhale. Exhaling. Feel grounded through the hips onto your stool on the exhale. Inhale. Tall. Exhale. Grounded. Good. So we're going to add in some arm movements. Nice and gentle. In order to energize the body, think about as much extension or stretch as possible. So inhaling, lift the arms all the way up. Look up if your neck is okay. Reach up, extend through the elbows, and exhale, coming back down. If you prefer to do this standing, simply stand, inhale the arms up, and exhale the arms down. If seated versions suit you, as I said earlier, stay seated. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. So for example, if you wanted to try this with maybe somebody who's injured, you want to do a standing version, your friend wants to sit down, you can do this together and harmonize. Really nice thing to do. Inhaling and exhaling. Okay, so we're going to add to this and come into a forward bend. So inhaling, lift the arms up. Exhaling, forward fold. Let your chest come over the thighs, drop the head, hands come down. Inhaling, rising up. Exhaling, forward fold. Get as far forwards as you can. Keep the knees together. Inhaling. And exhaling. For those of you who are choosing to do this practice standing up, inhaling, forward fold, exhaling. You get the idea. Inhaling, exhaling. So in the context, let's keep going. In the context of all of these postures today, everything that can be done standing can be done on the stool, sitting, and vice versa. Inhaling, exhaling down. Let's do 2 more. Inhaling, exhaling down. Last one. Inhaling, reach, reach, reach. Get that energy flow through the body, increase the blood flow with that movement. Exhaling. And then we come back up. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. This is one of my personal favorites. It's taken from a cat pose or cat-cow, where we round the back in one direction and then we open it so the back moves in the opposite direction. I like to use the arms, so as we're coming forwards, it's as if we're hugging a massive beach ball. Keep the hands in front of you, and as you come back, you're reaching the arms back and the chest opens. From the front, creaky stool, from the front, it's looking like this. So massive hug, inhale, open, exhale, inhale, exhale. Really nice way just to open or stretch the muscles across the chest and across the back. And again, those of you who prefer to stand, you can have the feet a little bit apart or together. And the same thing, and I'll show you from the side. Exhaling here, inhaling here. So you're really enjoying this undulatory action through the spine. And you can start to feel maybe little aches in the shoulders. That's okay, but if it becomes too much, of course, just take the hands down and continue. So as I'm talking and instructing, continue moving with me. Exhale, inhale, open, X, in, X, in, X, in. So these movements are relatively simple for the cognitive mind to understand, relatively easy for everyone to do in the body. They're gentle. However, they are energizing. They're going to help to lift the spirits and bring more mobility to the body. Let's add something into this. So taking one knee up, hugging in, you can mirror me. Exhale, inhale, place that foot back to the floor and open. Same upper body movement. This time, instead of an imaginary beach ball, we're hugging alternate legs. Inhale, exhale, hug. If you can get your knee to the forehead, then do. If not, you just, as always, go to where you can go to. Exhale, knee to forehead or towards forehead. Inhale, foot to floor, arms open. X, in, X, in, X, in. Those of you feeling like you need the challenge, X, in. Right, a little bit harder off the stool, X, in. Shall we from the side? X, keep going guys. In, X, in. Maybe adding that leg extension. So plenty of options. If you want to just keep the hands open when the foot is down, then do. Hands closed when the foot is up. Hands open, foot is down. Hands closed when the foot is up. Or we're extending the leg as the arms are open. Or we're doing it from standing. Yeah, so you have options. So from here, we're going to come into a little twist. So let's take the right leg up onto the stool or the chair you're sitting on. The sole of that right foot is going to be on the inside of that left thigh. We're sitting back far enough on the stool so that we've got room here for this leg to come up. This is a variation of Janu Shirshasana. So those of you who don't feel you need the stool, you want to make it a little bit more advanced, of course this posture can be done on the ground, like so. Yeah, so you've got your Janu Shirshasana there. You'll get the idea. You can kind of play with this, and depending on what you want in your body, you can be standing for the seated poses, or you can be seated on the ground for the stool poses, whatever you wish. Let's twist. From here, we're taking the left hand across the body to hold the right knee, and we're wrapping the right arm around to hold the left thigh. If you've got the mobility to find that bada or that bind on the thigh, then grab the thigh firmly. If you haven't yet got that mobility, don't force yourself. Hold on to the stool or the chair. The point is that you have a good grip of something to help you to twist. So make sure it's not kind of, show you from the side, make sure that it's not kind of like a half-assed thing where you're just doing this. Yeah, so you want to have this certainty. You're either modifying by holding on to the stool, or you're not modifying and you're holding on to the thigh, one or the other, not a hybridized version. And so we twist to the right. Now from here, we're trying to lift up through the solar plexus, through the heart, and stay tall as we rotate or as we come into rotation. Keeping your breath deep, and if it suits your neck, Look out over your right shoulder. Keeping the breath deep all the time helps also not only to nourish the body, but to help us focus the mind. Keep the breathing deep and even and steady. Now think about that levity, that elevation, all the way up through to the crown of the head. Such a beautiful pose, this. Parivrita Janushasana. Let's come back to center. Now we're going to stay with this right leg lifted, and we're going to take the sole of the foot to the edge of the chair or the stool. From here, we're going to let this left leg come out a little bit. If your leg is lovely and long, that left foot can be flat on the floor. If, like me, you've got short legs, then you're up on your tippy toes. Let's hold on to the edge of the chair or the stool with the hands. And from here, use that grip to lift up into straightness. So the chest lifts high. You're dropping the shoulder blades down and squeeze this right knee into the right arm. So this is a modified version of Marichyasana A. You can, of course, do this from a seated position. Keep breathing, guys. If you're sitting on the stool, stay there. I'll just show you the seated position. You've got one leg up. Eventually you wrap the arm around and you take a bind behind the back. Right? So it's a little bit more advanced. If you're not binding, you don't want to work on the stool, then simply work on being totally upright in the seated position, so you're not slouching back. So you always have those options, changing it around, being on the chair, being on the stool, standing for some of the standing postures, seated obviously for the seated ones. So we're gripping on here. This one looks easy, but actually if you're attempting this correctly, it's quite challenging. Use that grasp, that strong, galvanized grasp on the stool to lift the chest up and try to open the thorax. Sounds very complicated. What I mean by that is your thoracic spine at the back of your heart. Try to make it longer. Lift high. Let's bring a bit of tone into the core here. You don't have to suck the belly in 100%. Just lift the pelvic floor muscles up. Good. Keep the breath deep there. And then releasing. Still on the same leg. We're going to take it up into Ardha Padmasana, or half lotus. We're going to dorsiflex the foot. That means that you can see the dorsal side of it, the top of it, like a dorsal fin on a dolphin, right? So that's dorsiflex. Flex means to shorten. So when we dorsiflex, the back, the Achilles tendon, the back of the heel is going to stretch, the back of the ankle also. And then this fires up lots of lovely flexors in the shin and protects your knee. So from there, we're going to very, very gently start to come forwards. Very gently, with the breath. Slide the arms forwards. Maybe you can take the hands to touch the floor and drop your head down. Keep the breathing going there. I'm just going to demonstrate what this would look like if we were sitting on the floor. Forward bending. Ardha Padmasana, half lotus, and we're taking hold of the foot and coming into our full forward bend there with a straight leg. So your body will tell you where you're at. You can do that sitting on the floor, but there's no doubt it's a little easier when we're on the chair.
And so breathing here. Let the head just hang. Don't worry if your hands don't touch the floor yet, that's fine. Just let the arms dangle. Now slowly, slowly, slowly roll yourself back up
to a seated position. And we're going to repeat that all on the other side. So, right leg is down, we lift the left leg up. Sole of the left foot is making nice, loving contact with the inside of the right thigh. This left knee is laterally flexing, as in going out to the side. And And from there, we're going to come into a little twist. So we remember, we're either binding onto this right thigh, or we're holding onto the chair with that left hand. Right arm goes across the body to the left knee. You can find your baddha, your bind, grabbing onto that thigh, or just grab onto the chair. And then we twist. And we look over the left shoulder if it feels okay. Let's hold this for a while, guys. So there's a sense of progression when we hold things for longer. We're not just waiting for days and days of practice to progress, which happens too, but we're also trying to progress within each practice, meaning we're going further. Excuse me. And so going further can mean many things depending on the context and the practitioner. Going further might be physiologically, externally twisting more. It might be just a subtle strengthening in the inner body, so you feel that you're going towards going further. It might be an intention in your head, I want to go further. Or it might just be some new light bulb moment of awareness where you think, I understand this now. I understand when I push into the stool and the knee and I find myself grounded through the hips, I can find more rotation. I can energize myself by sitting taller. I can focus more by switching the mind on. All of these ingredients are progress for sure. Let's inhale back to the center. Same leg up, still on the stool, but instead of being on the outside of the foot, we take the sole of this left foot to the stool. We widen the right leg out a little bit and we take hold of the front of the stool with the hands, drawing that left knee into the arm. Make contact there. It just brings a bit more strength into the inner thighs. And when the base is strong, we have much more support from which to lift and lengthen up into the spine. So hold on tight to that chair. Lift the chest nice and high. Try to create as much length here as possible. Side waists get longer. Firm the internal abdominal muscles. So again, it's not sucking the outside structures in. It's an internal lift and support from the pelvic floor. Drop the shoulder blades down. Try and get your chest higher than your shoulders. Try and get your chest further forwards than your arms. And use the strength of your hands on the stool to lift you up. Option, of course, to do the seated version on the floor. Slowly releasing, and let's take our leg into Ardha Padma, lotus. Dorsiflex the foot. You're stretching the back of the ankle, flexing the front of the ankle. From here, we start to slowly lower down and just kind of melt like sauce coming out of a saucepan slowly. Just kind of melt yourself down slowly. Give yourself some time for the mind to catch up with what's happening, and never force the body. Listen to what the body has to tell you. It sounds like a strange statement to say, but listening to the body is such a good thing to do. Sometimes we can be stressed in our minds, we don't even know it, and then the body will actually manifest something physically just to say, hello, listen to me. And usually the information from the body is much more correct and accurate and truthful than the information from the mind. That's my experience of things anyway. Keeping the breath deep. As I said, if you can't reach the floor yet, if you're somewhere like here, that's fine. This is still the same posture. It's going to be different for everybody's body. Please respect yours. And then we slowly roll back up. Such a beautiful stretch for the muscles at the outside of the hips. And then we take the foot back down. So from here, excuse me, from here, we're just going to work into an interlaced position with the hands and lift up. So let's weave the hands. So for me, my dominant side would be my left side. So my left thumb comes on top when I weave the hands. And I'm looking for a weave of left digit, right digit, left digit, right digit, left digit, right, all the way down. So you're weaving there. From there, we're going to exhale deeply, turn the palms forward and lift up on the inhale. Extend. This is simply an extender. And so if you want to fully extend your legs also, it's quite strong, lifting up, pushing the heels forwards. This is obvious what this would look like if we were sitting on the floor, so I don't need to demonstrate that. For those of you who feel you don't need the help and support of the stool, this posture can be done on the ground, and it's a variation of Dandasana or staff pose. Extend through those elbows as much as possible. Drop the shoulder blades down. If it's too much to have your legs straight, simply take your feet back to the floor. Breathe deeply. Slowly coming back down. Good, very good. Okay, so we're going to come into a little bit of a back bend. So I'm going to show you from the side. You don't need to turn to the side. I'm just going to show you because the side profile view for this one is a little bit more helpful and easy to understand. So with a back bend, it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. You can still get lots of lovely dynamism and energy through the body in a gentle way. And so what we're going to do is interlace the hands behind the back of the head. I'm just going to turn slightly so you can see. So that same interlace that we had earlier, except instead of pressing the palms up, the palms are going to the back of the head. On the exhale, we're going to pull the elbows in towards each other. And on the inhale, we're going to rise up with the chest and open through the elbows so we can no longer see them through the peripheral vision. Exhale, bring your back straight again and draw the elbows in. Inhale, open the chest. Let your head lay into your hands and squeeze your elbows back until you can no longer see them with the peripheral vision. Exhale, straight back, elbows come in. Inhale, open the chest, elbows come out. Exhale. Keep the legs together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. X. In. X. In. X. And keep on going with the pace of your own breath. Really work on your inhale to squeeze your elbows so far apart that you can't see them anymore, and the shoulder blades come down the back. On the exhale, draw your elbows in towards each other. If your arms are long enough, you can touch them. Inhale, open the chest. As you open your elbows and drop your shoulder blades, lift your heart to the ceiling as if there's a magnet pulling it up. Exhale, keeping your belly strong. Draw the elbows in. Find that strength. Inhale, find the openness and the stretch. Exhale, come into that strength. Let's do 5 more. In. X. In. X. In. X. In. X. Last time. In. Good. Nice, guys. So from here, we're going to work into another little twist. So this is a little bit more complicated than the other ones. So I'm just going to show you. We're going to let our legs go to the left. Look at your knees and your hips. So your knees should be equally bent, as in not one in front of the other. And your hips should be aligned, as in not one buttock back behind the other, right? So unless one of your femurs, your thigh bones, is very, very long, generally speaking, your knee alignment is going to give you some information about your hip alignment, right? So if your knees are perfectly together and one isn't in front of the other, your hips should be the same, your buttocks will tell you also. So from here, we're going to come into a little twist to the right with the trunk. We're going to hold on to the outside of the right knee with the left hand, and we're going to hold on to the back of the chair with the right hand. Lift the chest up super high. Now, we've encountered rotation before in this sequence. Therefore, the muscles required to rotate the trunk as we're doing now will already be a little bit warmed up. So maybe we can go further. Maybe we can take that right hand around to that left side of the stool. Now sit tall as you can. Lift the chest up high. So we're aiming to get the chest to a 90-degree angle to the knees, really, without letting that right knee escape back. And again, looking over the back of the chair or behind your right shoulder or wherever suits you is just a way of gently increasing the twist. But make sure that it's the trunk that's doing the main rotation. Good, and then we slowly come back into center, and then we'll go to the other side. So taking both legs over to the right side of your chair, and then we twist. Ooh, yeah, and completely. If I haven't mentioned this before to you, you will find that one side is a totally different story to the other. So for me personally, I cannot twist as well or as dramatically or impressively as I can on the other side, and that's fine. It is completely natural. Even after years of practice, we'll still have one side that's a little bit more willing to be open than the other. By open, I mean extended or stretched. And so as we twist, maybe we take the head back. But again, it's the trunk that we're really trying to sort of travel into this rotation. So maybe your head might be there. If you've got whiplash issues, your head might be here, right? So you're just twisting through the spine here. And coming back to center. We're going to try to emulate that on the floor. This is a supine position, so a lying down position. If you feel that you want to remain on the chair or the stool for this, then you can. But if you want to explore having the whole body on the same horizontal plane, that will give you another action. I would advise doing both if your body feels like it. If you have trouble lying on the ground, if there are issues there skeletally or with different energies in the body and it just feels nauseating or wrong for you, then we simply repeat the twist seated. So that means if you're staying on the stool, your legs are going to the left first, you're twisting to the right, and then when I say we change sides, legs go to the right and you twist to the left. I'm also going to show you now the supine version. So, this is a beautiful position. I'm going to bring the blanket underneath me just so that you can see the juxtaposition of the white and the black, and it becomes a bit clearer. So with this position, I want my arms to be out to the sides, and I'm going to let my legs go over to one side. So you can start to see, even though I'm in a different orientation, pretty much the shape is the same. I know my arms are out, but the similarity comes with I'm rotating through the trunk and my legs are trying to go to a 90-degree angle. Those of you on the stool, same directions as last time, just continue to twist. Those of us on the floor, make sure both shoulder blades are grounded. And just allow gravity to take your legs down to the left. Breathing deeply here. Whether you're choosing the supine or lying down version or the seated on the stool, maintaining steady breath, mental focus, and of course, a really good balance between work and also relaxation in the body. What do I mean by that? You want to work strongly enough so that the asanas or the yoga postures have a good effect, but not so strongly that you're creating tension and stress. You want to be in a relaxed state so that perhaps you can stretch more and there isn't any hardness, but not so relaxed that you're, catatonic or that you're a little floppy or there's a laziness. So we're always on a quest to find that middle place in our practice, whether we're doing a super gentle flow like this one or whether we're doing a level 3 high intensity vinyasa. Find the middle way all the time. So inhale, come back to the actual middle, and then we exhale, go to the other side. And so both shoulder blades stay on the floor, the legs go to the right if we're lying down, or if you're on the stool, your legs are going to the right side of your stool and you're twisting your trunk to the left. And it's harder for us if we're lying down to keep those knees aligned for sure, but just try as best you can. Find the twist there. And breathe steadily. And so your breath is such a good indication of where you're at in your practice. If you're in any asana or yoga posture where you feel your breath is really hindered, for sure sometimes we're in challenging shapes and postures and we feel that the breath is a little bit labored. But if your breath becomes hindered, as in if you cannot breathe, that is your body telling you some vital information to back off from the intensity. Particularly in a sequence like this, simple, gentle flow, if your breath is very, very unsteady, try to relax into the pose, and if that doesn't work, modify the pose. Maybe bring a leg a little closer to the torso or to the center. And if it's too much, just simply come out of the pose. And so from here, we're going to stay on the ground if it suits you. And we're going to come into Apanasana. So the right knee, we're hugging that in with the hands interlaced, same interlace. And then we're extending that left leg along the floor. I like to point my toes, makes me feel like there's energy reaching into all ends of me. I want to feel that there's nothing floppy. So if the floppiness in the foot happens, I feel the energy's only kind of getting to here. That's kind of an abstract way of looking at it. But it's just the way I feel. If I really point my toes, I feel much more aliveness in the asana. And then we're going to switch. Very slowly. Exhale, pulling the opposite leg in. Inhale, extending that leg. Exhale, pulling the opposite leg in. Inhale, to switch. continue on if you're in a supine position. And I'm going to demonstrate this from the stool. I would guess that you figured this out already, but just so you have options. Pulling in. Inhale to switch. Exhale to pull the opposite leg in. Inhale. Exhale. Right? You get the idea. Continuing on the ground. And so, if you want to make this a little spicier, you can lift and hover that straight leg. Lift and hover the chin and the chest. And then inhale. Extend that leg. Exhale. Take in the other one. The idea. A little bit more spicy. Inhale. Exhale. And if your neck gets stiff, you can still do the leg hover. Just take your head down. Yeah? Begin to speed up if it feels that you want to. So you might go inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Or you might want to go inhale, exhale. Right? You're getting to know from these little sequences that I give to you that you have many variations, many options. Now I'm trying to pull my knee to my nose here. This gets a little bit more dynamic. So see where you're at. If you're working with someone in therapeutic yoga, if you're helping your kid or maybe a parent who's injured or a partner who's injured, you yourself can set someone up on the stool, and then once they're right, come down and do these more advanced exercises. This is a beautiful way to practice together. You don't have to be segregated in different levels. And then from there, we're going to come into an active Shavasana. So that means a complete paradox actually, because Shava means corpse, so active corpse. So that's a bit scary. But you know what I mean. Dorsiflex the feet, pushing the heels away. We're going to extend the arms all the way back behind us. If whoever you're working with, or if you yourself do not want to be lying on the floor for whatever reason, then this version will suffice. You can take one leg into straightness, point the toe or dorsiflex, and extend the arms back. Idea being you're being as long as you possibly can be through the trunk and through one leg. Maybe if it feels acceptable, both legs, right? But be gentle. This practice today that I'm giving you is very gentle. So be as gentle as you need to. If you're a little bit more advanced, but you still like the pacing of a slower practice, you can be here or lying on the ground, super active. Like so. Extension all the way. So all the way the sideways, all the way under the arms, all the way through the elbows and the fingers, all the way through the legs. Pushing the heels away gives a different kind of aliveness. We're extending through the back body here. The posterior changes, the back of your body all the way. Backs of your hands, back of your skull, backs of the arms, shoulders, ribs, lumbar, bum, legs. Good, and then welcome, relax. So we're going to come into a guided Yoga Nidra or relaxation. So as some of you know, Yoga Nidra or Shavasana is this. So just a very passive lying on the floor position. If lying on the floor is not acceptable, if lying down is not something that's possible at the moment due to any health issues, sit on your chair. If it has a comfy back to it, then lean back, or if you have a stool, just leaning on the wall and just let yourself relax. You can just let yourself sort of soften, and then the feet can be there, and just make sure you're comfortable So once you've set yourself up for that relaxation, let your eyes close. Take 3 deep and steady breaths. Let yourself settle into whichever version you've chosen, sitting up on a stool or lying down on the ground. And perhaps take a blanket for warmth and comfort. If it's the daytime, pull the curtains. Turn the lights off if it's nighttime. Let your body know that you're giving it the rest that it's been asking for. Close your eyes gently. And let yourself relax. Now bring all of your awareness to your breath. You'll notice straight away the second we come to stillness that the breath doesn't need to be deep anymore. And so we notice the body's intelligence telling the brain that we don't need so much oxygen, and your breath becomes this beautiful, soft, passive entity, like some silk floating down on a soft breeze and landing beautifully on the grass. Be aware of this unique present moment. Don't get bogged down in all the ingredients of this present moment. Just be in it. Notice how your body is feeling at this time as a direct response to our practice today. Notice what your body has to tell you. Is it holding tension? And if so, did your mind put that tension there? See about allowing yourself to get as heavy as possible into your chair or onto the ground, and see about releasing that tension that you have spotted, melting it out. Imagine that your bones are spreading away from each other as the muscular tension dissipates, dissolves, disappears. Be one with the present moment as you relax. Nothing else exists. This is your time. This moment is yours. Be in it fully. Surrender. Let go of all the noise to uncover that inner peace. Let's practice our Sankalpa, a succinct and beautiful statement to yourself, something kind and loving and motivated by self-care. Saying that statement silently to yourself 3 times. Now, if you have the delicious golden opportunity to remain in relaxation today, press pause on this video now so that the conclusion of the practice doesn't disturb your chilled out vibe. If, however, you have to get up and do stuff, we begin slowly to come out of the practice. Start by bringing your awareness to the breath and beginning to manipulate it again, inhaling and exhaling in equal measure. The next step is to start to deepen that measured breath. So as the inhale gets longer, so too does the exhale. Once you're breathing to your full lung capacity, begin to very slowly, in tiny increments, move your body. And when you're ready, coming up to a seated cross-legged position, should you prefer, or sitting back onto your stool or chair, resting the hands on the thighs, sitting nice and tall. Pardon the soundtrack of my rumbling belly. Imagine that they are ocean sounds instead. Bringing your palms together into Anjali Mudra, representing the gift of the practice, the gift of recognition of the spirit. And through that self-love gift, we can spread that to others. Irrespective of issues or trauma or pain or annoyance or stress, we can always give ourselves the gift of a practice which allows us to accommodate others, which allows us to be a community, which allows us to dissolve boundaries so that there can be peace. Let's chant for peace. Taking a deep breath in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Let's take an inhale to rise the arms all the way up. This represents gathering all the goodness from our practice. And then as we bring the palms together down through the center line of the body, this represents bringing all that goodness into our hearts. Namaste to you all. Have a beautiful day, or if you're doing this at night, have a beautiful evening and a sweet sleep. Thanks everyone.